They just pop up. And that's, maybe that's. That just
Apparently, there we go. So before we call the meeting into order, we're going to be having a closed briefing from council. So I'm going to have to politely ask all of you to wait outside, and because I believe we have everyone on who's going to be here from the board is online or already here. So as soon as we're done with that, then we'll let you know. Thank you.
Hello, this is Elizabeth Foyt, trustee. I am calling in from Scottsdale, Arizona. Ebony, do you hear me when I speak?
I'll turn it on. No, yes. Okay. Yep. Yeah. I think, are you already text? Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah. Got it. Yeah, a little bit out of here. Oh, that's fine. I can restrain myself.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm calling this meeting of the Las Vegas Clark County Library District Board of Trustees to order at 5:38 p.m. If you will all please rise. Oh, sorry. Before we do that, Ms. Nance, if you can call the roll, please.
Chair Wah,
Here.
Trustee Haran. Here. Trustee Whiteley. Here. Trustee Melendres.
Here.
Trustee Rogers.
Here.
Trustee Sanchez.
Here.
Trustee Benavides.
Here.
Trustee Foyt.
Here.
Trustee Ortiz. And we do have a quorum, Chair.
Thank you. And please mark Trustee Ortiz is absent excused. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Okie dokie. Agenda item number 3, board action to accept proposed agenda. Do I have a motion? Oh, sorry. Sorry. Or it doesn't have a Roman numeral. So 3, public comment. Is there anyone signed up for public comment?
No.
Is there anyone in the room who would like to make public comment? Moving on, we'll move on to board action to accept proposed agenda. Do I have a motion?
Trustee. Second.
A motion from from Vice Chair Rogers and a second from Trustee Turner Whiteley. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, no. The agenda passes. Approval of proposed minutes. I do have one correction. On the nominating committee meeting, it's listed as Chair Wilson closing out the meeting, and I just want to make sure that that is fixed. Are there any other comments, questions, issues with the minutes? And if not, I'll accept the motion.
I move to approve the minutes from our last meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the minutes. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, no. The motion carries. Agenda item number 5, Chair's report. The only thing to report, trustees, as I indicated in a message to you all with Director Watson's evaluation, please have those forms returned to me by August 15th so that we can conduct Director Watson's evaluation at our September meeting. If you have any questions or anything like that, please let me know. And I'm happy to talk through it, answer any questions you may have on the process. And as I indicated, as we at the same meeting, my hope is with Mr. Serpico that we'll have a timeline policy for you all. So that way we can make sure that we're hitting those benchmarks and we are able to get these reviews done on time. Are there any questions about that? Emily said it weird because I'm trying to remember if I had anything else to say. Trustee reports. Does anyone have anything that they would like to share for the good of the order? Nope. With that, we'll move on to library reports. Are there any? Well, I'll turn it over to Director Watson.
Thank you, Chair. Wow. My report is submitted as written. I just wanted to make a couple of comments and thank all of the trustees who attended the American Library Association on behalf of the library district. I know there was lots of activities and meetings that took place, and I know that for some, it was their first ALA, so hopefully they'll share their own individual feedback there. I also wanted to publicly again thank the library district staff for all of the continued hard work that we are providing for the community, and to say again, I was able to receive at the ALA conference the American Library Association Library of the Future Award on behalf of our library staff, and that we are planning to do something special for the staff in the near future as a little, as a thank you, not little, but as a continued thank you again for the hard work and dedication. And I hope that everyone has had an opportunity to see all of the marketing, the Free to Be campaign. I'm actually wearing my Free to Be button tonight as well. But just from my perspective, I think that what we have at the libraries is definitely eye-catching. From the road, you can see all of the banners, and internally inside the libraries, I think that a great job to all involved, branding and marketing, general services, all the teams that were involved and that process. So that's my report. I will entertain any questions and comments from the trustees at this time.
Are there any questions for Director Watson? Trustee Sanchez.
Yes, which trustees attended the ALA meeting conference?
So Trustee Foyt, Trustee Rogers, Trustee Melendrez, Trustee Harron, and Trustee Ortiz all attended the American Library Association conference.
Great, thank you and congratulations.
And next year's ALA is in Baltimore if anyone wants crab cakes.
Can
And I did not want to call up any of the reports, but I just wanted to comment. I wanted to thank Ebony for making all of our lodging arrangements and registering all of the members that were just aforementioned. Then also I want to thank her for troubleshooting and answering all of our questions and resolving challenges that we were faced while we were in Chicago. And then I secondly want to thank Director Watson for allowing me to shadow him as we had a great first experience, and I learned quite a bit. I didn't realize how big of a deal libraries is, and 20-something thousand people there. It was amazing. And certainly I want to congratulate him also on being the 2023 Medal of Excellence Award winner as well.
And Trustee Harron, did you
This-
answer?
Trustee Foyt?
Trustee Foyt, we're going to hear from Trustee Harron, and then we'll come back to you.
Okay. Great.
All right. I wanted to second that about, the work that Ebony put into setting us all up. It was, at least for my experience, flawless going in and having just the best situation possible. It was my first ALA convention. It was phenomenal as both a trustee member and a school librarian. I just enjoyed every moment of the sessions in both of those roles. The speakers were phenomenal. The highlight of the weekend was absolutely, being there for the ceremony when Executive Director Watson was awarded with these wonderful awards and accepted the award on behalf of the library district. And I just couldn't have been prouder of Mr. Watson and of everyone else of our staff for earning that amazing award. So thank you very much.
Trustee Foyt.
I would again add my comments and compliments to Ebony's endeavors and efforts, and she definitely went beyond the working day. She was available to us at all times. It was really an honor to be there for Kelvin's ceremonies. It was just wonderful. He was very eloquent in his thanks, and the fact that not only was he individually recognized, but the library. And at some of the gatherings, it was so impressive to meet people that he has mentored or that he had worked with that were cheering him on. It was just great. And as far as my daytimes, which were full, I went to any number of meetings related to the library programs, library foundations, the role of the trustees, and how to look into and be prepared for some of the difficult moments that may be coming our way with book bannings and exclusions and things. So it was a very worthwhile conference, and I worked hard. I was very glad to fill my days, but it was a very full occasion for the conference. So thank you all for letting me be part of the representative group for the library district. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Foyt. Trustee Melendres.
Yeah, I just also want to send out a huge thank you to Ebony, because I know I did have some issues. The hotel was great, the location was great, but there were some issues and she took care of it right away. So thank you, Ebony, for that. And also congratulations to our director for his hard work, and also complimenting the work of the staff for the recognition that we received. It's always great to go to one of those national programs, and the Las Vegas Clark County Library District is represented. And also the other part I love about it is when people see my badge and they see that I'm from Las Vegas in our library, there's always a compliment that follows that. And so again, that's the hard work of our director, the staff of the library, and my fellow trustees. So I just want to say thank you for that. And one thing I did, I was able to attend, one of the meetings that I attended was actually a special session on trustees, foundations, and some other program that they were talking about, raising money, the role of trustees and foundations and all this. It was a really interesting conversation. And I was glad I was able to go to it, even though I hadn't officially registered for it. But there was a lot of good, a lot of good points that were made there. And I know I took some notes that I'll be typing up and sharing them with Calvin, and then see how we might be able to utilize that as we move forward. And just the conversation earlier today is just an example of where, communication and transparency are so critical for how we operate and continue to be one of the most successful libraries in the United States. So thank you.
Thank you. And I just want to note that that Director Watson will be receiving the military recognition for the NBA Summer League tomorrow. Is that what it is? Or like Saturday? So if you're going to be at NBA Summer League, where Kelvin receives his award from the NBA, then so with that, if there's no other question for Director Watson, I would like to ask Mr. Segura to come on up. I have just a couple questions for you.
Leo Segura, Library Operations Director, for the record.
So I noticed something in your report which made me very, very excited, which was the field registrars for the election. And I just wondered if you could just speak a little bit. What is that? Does that mean that people can get registered to vote at all the libraries? What does that mean?
Yes, what that means is we have been, and we do currently have field registrars at the library. We recently have been sending our staff to get retrained and re-signed up for that, so that they'll be ready to perform those duties for anyone coming into the library to register to vote. So we do notify people through a post on the outside of the library when we have non-library related registrars collecting signatures and registrations, that they can still come inside and get an official one from us that we know is I don't know, partisan. That's it.
No, I appreciate that. Especially because I've always been a big advocate for voting. Let Mayor Daley in Chicago vote early, vote often, but also just making it, I think, easier for our patrons to participate in the democratic process, I think, is amazing. Trustee Sanchez.
How is that announced for people if they want to, go ahead and register to vote? How would they know to do that here? at the
We
library?
usually have it posted on our website with our BAM branding and marketing team. Usually puts posts on our website and help us to promote that through library operations. But it's available in almost every metropolitan branch and some of our outlying branches as well.
Great. Thank you very much.
Yep.
And then I'm going to keep you up there because this is kind of development, kind of operations, kind of
Sure.
foundation. One of my favorite I mean, if you ask me what my favorite program the library does, I'll say all of them are my favorite. But one of the ones that really I enjoy the most is the tutoring. That is, it's something that's made possible by the work of the foundation. And the report card was included here, and I'm just looking at, 1,700 unduplicated students. Spring Valley has had 5,200, almost 5,300 tutoring visits, and just all 12,000 visits of students coming to get tutoring is amazing. The one question I had for you is, I love seeing Spring Valley run away with it, but just kind of, do you have any insight of why Spring Valley's number is so high, or kind of what's?
Not off the cuff, but I know I know that they've always been pretty strongly attended at Spring Valley. Staff has always been engaged and working well with our tutors there, and we do the Anson tutors there, and just the number of schools around that community, and the need for that, and its proximity to the library. I think it just enjoys a lot of community support.
Awesome. Thank you. And then one last thing while I have you up there is I just want to give a thank you to you and Kevin and Dr. Dean, because as everyone may remember, one of my goals was to visit all 25 library branches. After next week, I'll be up to 23. So just thank you for everyone who's put up with me and all my questions, and the branches for being so welcoming and opening. So that's all I have. So thank you, Leo.
Thank you.
Trustee Whiteley.
Wait, don't go away just yet.
I just wanted to, what I loved most, and this applies to a couple of the others as well, about the reports is, here we have just gotten this Library of the Future award, and all I see in here is more technology, more exposure for people to things that they haven't done. So I just wanted to call out the All Hands on Technology program, and that your team, and I know the BAM team, worked on as well. It's really
And
exciting.
IT.
And IT, yes, of
Yeah,
course.
they definitely led the charge with that one.
Really exciting to see that opportunity get in people's hands and see the way that that's expanding. And I also really love the digital memory preservation lab. I think that's a fantastic service. And my mom went there, and she is 75 years old in January, and was able to figure it out thanks to the staff's help. So that's the kind of stuff that I think it's invaluable and can make a real difference in people's lives, and that falls under the libraries do that category. So I just wanted to give a big shout out to your staff for implementing some of those new opportunities for people.
Appreciate that.
And also for the summer challenge kickoff, which we greatly enjoyed, and I always love to see happen.
Yep.
So well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Library of the Future 2024. Are there any other reports that anyone would like to bring forward?
Yeah, this is Trustee Melendres. I just want to thank Matt and the whole community engagement team. On June 26th, we were able to, in collaboration with and support from the library, we were able to host a housing resource fair that was done in conjunction with HUD and the Nevada Minority Health and Equity Coalition. And I know I got a lot of good. I wasn't able to be there myself because I was at ALA, but I got a lot of good feedback from my staff and other volunteers who were there, and said it was a great program. A lot of great information was shared with the community. So thank you to Matt and his staff for an outstanding job and hosting us there for the day and all the activities.
Thank you. And of course, thank you to everyone for all the work you do every day. So with that, I'll accept the reports. We'll move on to new business, consented agenda. The only item on here is to declare the fines and fees that are 5 years old, dating from the year 2018, as uncollectible and per district records. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So
So
moved.
moved.
There's a motion by Trustee
Second.
Sanchez, second by Trustee Rogers. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, no. The item is agreed to. Moving on to new business. Number one, discussion on possible board action regarding the engagement of Kutak Rock LLP in connection with the new market tax credit financing for the construction of the West Las Vegas Library project. Mr. Tobias.
All right. Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Floresta Tobias, Chief Financial Officer, for the record. Also attending is Barry Burns with Kutak Rock, and Troy Villafara with Crescent Growth Capital, and Dennis Martinez with Crescent Growth Capital to help answer any questions the trustees may have. I also brought these two firms to the April 2023 board meeting in order to give the trustees an overview of the New Markets Tax Credit Program. At that time, the trustees authorized staff to take actions necessary to facilitate the New Markets process. At that time also, the executive director signed off on the conflict waiver, which allowed QTAC Rock to begin representing the library district. And the next step would have been for the foundation of the library to engage QTAC Rock directly to represent the foundation, the library district, and its other affiliates. The foundation at its most recent meeting tabled the motion to engage QTAC Rock for a number of reasons. The one relevant here is with respect to legal fees. Under the New Markets Program, legal fees are deducted from the proceeds of the transaction. So once the entire New Markets transaction is complete, the millions of dollars that are drawn down provide fees. So they're directly deducted by the attorneys, other consultants, and there's no out-of-pocket cost to the library district or any of its affiliates. However, there is the possibility that should the New Markets transaction not close, that the foundation as the entity engaging QTAC Rock would be responsible for up to $110,000 in potential legal fees. And again, that's if the transaction does not close, and which is very unlikely since all the parties involved are highly motivated to ensure that this transaction closes. There's more than $110,000 of legal fees at stake here. What's really at risk are millions of dollars worth of New Markets funds. But the foundation did have a legitimate question about who would be responsible for these fees should the transaction not close. And so this is why staff is recommending that the library district directly engage QTAC Rock to alleviate the concerns of the foundation and to allow QTAC Rock to continue moving forward in the New Markets process.
Are there any questions for Mr. Glass or for the gentleman from QTAC Rock?
I have a question.
Trustee Sanchez.
If there was the possibility of creating a new foundation, would that be able to be done in a timely manner?
If that was necessary, it could be done in a timely manner. I've discussed this with General Counsel, Mr. Weld, and should the foundation choose not to participate in the New Markets transaction, that would be the only reason the district would consider engaging another foundation or leverage lender. Then there is a way or a path forward to do that.
And what has your conversation? I'm trying to understand. So you would create a new foundation potentially?
In lieu of the foundation, if they choose not to participate, the district would require what's called a leverage lender, which the foundation has always served as in the prior to New Markets deals. But any nonprofit corporation can be partnered with the library district to serve as a leverage lender and continue the New Markets process. And there would be enough time as of right now to go in that direction if needed.
Okay.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Glass?
So I have a question for you. Since this is a shift away from what we've traditionally done, the foundation is, not interested in participating in the way they did prior. I want to make sure that if we take this on, we aren't creating additional problems or expense for the foundation. Would they have to, or we're confident that they would not have to go retain counsel that they would have to pay for that would not come out of this New Market tax credit if we're the ones who are engaging? I'm just trying to understand since this is not the way we've done it before, why, yes. What are the pitfalls if we choose to go this way?
And I can speak for staff in that we would prefer to move forward in the New Markets program with the foundation as we always have. But in the event that because the next step here, assuming that the board approves staff to engage QTAC Rock directly, the next step for the foundation would be to sign QTAC Rock's conflict waiver, which is necessary for QTAC Rock to represent the foundation. If the foundation chooses not to sign the conflict waiver, then QTAC Rock could not represent the foundation. And again, this would be at no out-of-pocket cost to the foundation. So the other options would be for the foundation potentially to engage their own counsel, and that would be an out-of-pocket cost to the foundation. Another alternative would be to not engage counsel at all. So the foundation would not be represented in the new markets transaction. And the final option would be for the foundation to not participate in the new
Right.
markets program.
Which would be terrible when no one's looking
We
for
agree.
that
We agree. Treasurer
at
Whiteley.
all. And I just want to be clear that the district has already signed the waiver. We were already comfortable working with the
Mhm.
same. Okay.
Yes, but a new waiver would have to be signed, clarifying for QTech Rock the relationship or their representation of the different organizations, the library district, the foundation, and soon to come nonprofit corporation to be called the West Las Vegas Quality B.
Terrific. So up until this point, the district has done everything according to the way we've done it for the last two, which were very successful, and we've signed the waivers, and now we're willing to flip the switch and try it again, just to try to get the foundation on board to do what they've done for the last two very successfully.
Yes, the district engaging QTech Rock directly would directly address the concern about fees out of pocket for the foundation, and QTech Rock still would represent the foundation, assuming they signed the conflict waiver. And that's the only change from the prior deals. And it's not unusual. Traditionally, QTech Rock or special counsel and the facilitator, which is Crescent Growth Capital, can directly engage the sponsor. That's actually the traditional protocol. It's just that in the past, the foundation engaged those two firms. And so the rest of the process is inconsistent and will keep us on track to successfully close this deal for the West Las Vegas New Markets program.
Thank you so much.
But we would, in addition, need a commitment from the foundation that they would execute the other documents forthcoming.
Totally understood.
Trustee Sanchez?
My other question is, if we were to, I agree with you. I believe that the district and the foundation should work together. I do believe that there will be no issue with who we are partnering with closing the deal, because that's never, ever happened before. I understand that some people on the other board might have reservations and some concern. And I understand that if it wasn't finished, it would cost $110,000. But I do believe that there shouldn't be any issue. My question to I guess the chair is, how would we go forward to speak with the foundation?
So as we had kind of worked through, Vice Chair Rogers will meet with Chair with the chair of the foundation board and kind of explain with Kelvin kind of where things are, kind of what the landscape looks like, what our options are, and kind of have that conversation, obviously, because a lot of things were done in a meeting of the foundation. I don't know what their process is for changing whatever directives that they have for their officers, but certainly the first step will be Vice Chair Rogers having that conversation with Tamar.
And I have one more question, and I don't know if you can answer it or maybe QTAC Rock, but I was at the meeting with the foundation. It was my last meeting, and I had asked QTAC Rock, when do they need the signatures by? And I thought they said August, but I was wondering if they could tell us when they need the signatures done by.
Barry with QTech Rock is here that could elaborate on that, but the QTech would definitely need certainty in who it's representing as soon as possible in order to begin work. But there is a timeline. It doesn't have to be done tonight, but this motion would give QTech Rock that clarity. But Barry, if you're online, can you elaborate on that question?
My pleasure to answer the question. So before I'm able to start reviewing like term sheets or other agreements that would be needed to get the transaction parties involved and get the process started for closing, I would need this engagement letter to be signed. So like you said, it doesn't have to be now, but in order for Crescent Growth Capital to be able to market the deal and find those other parties to be involved with the closing process, the investor and the community development entities, I would not be able to review their documents that would govern their participation until the engagement letter is signed. And also there's some ancillary issues that could probably use my legal input. I know recently there were some grants that were being considered and asked about, and I could not give a legal opinion on that until I have an engagement letter signed.
Thank you very much for that timeline. Appreciate it.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Cabayas? If there are none, I will accept a motion.
I motion to authorize Executive Director to execute an agreement with Kutak Rock LLP to serve as special tax credit counsel in connection with the new market tax credit financing for construction of the West Las Vegas Library project, and to sign a revised waiver of potential conflict of interest, subject to final review of engagement letter by council.
Second,
I
Jose.
moved to second.
There's a motion and a second. Are there any questions on the any discussion on the motion?
Yes, I'd like to add that in our motion that we are going to speak with Tamar, that will be part of the motion, that as a board, we were going to speak with the foundation. We're going to move forward with this, but we're also going to have a conversation with the foundation.
Trustee Rogers, do you would you like to include that in your motion?
I'm receptive to that amendment, friendly amendment to the motion.
And Trustee Melendez, are you good with your second?
Yes.
Okay, you've heard the motion in a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, no. The motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 2, discussion and possible board action regarding the approval of staff to make ongoing purchases of computer hardware and software, telecommunications hardware, and other related infrastructure improvements over $75,000 for fiscal year 2023-2024. Director Pendergast.
Good evening, trustees. Al Prendergast, Chief Information Officer for the record. The IT department brings this item to the board annually for your consideration. The district established a technology replacement and upgrade program in the Capital Projects Fund for the replacement of the district's aging technology assets and for new technology initiatives. This year budget includes funding for the replacement of several end-of-life IT department systems and new technologies and solutions for the branches. However, as a reminder, some of these funds may be reallocated for newly identified priorities or to respond to unforeseen circumstances. The funding for these projects is budgeted in technology replacement and upgrade program of the Capital Projects Fund, as approved by the Board of Trustees in the fiscal year 2023-2024 adopted budget. Any budgeted funds that are not expended during the fiscal year will remain in the technology replacement and upgrade program for use in future years, and budget expenditures are limited to the budgeted funds. The purpose of this agenda item is to pre-approve all fiscal year 2024 technology purchases over $75,000 and provide insight into our plans for the new fiscal year. Rather than separately submitting each purchase request for over $75,000 to the board for approval, the IT department is respectfully requesting that the Board of Trustees give staff the authorization to approve technology-related purchases exceeding $75,000. NRS 332.115 exempts most of the items listed in the table from the formal bidding process because they're either explicitly exempt or sole sourced, and some of the items are previously competitively bid. However, as practiced by staff and as required by the district's purchasing policy, multiple informal bids may be solicited when possible, and each purchase will be reviewed and evaluated by the information technology staff for best possible pricing, and alternatives will be explored prior to purchasing. The items listed in the table represent all of the planned expenditures from the technology replacement and upgrade program of the Capital Projects Fund. The funding for these projects is budgeted at $2,587,000 for this fiscal year. IT department staff will continue to provide expenditure updates to the Board of Trustees through the Executive Director's monthly board report. Thank you, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Director Pendergast? Seeing none, I'll accept the motion.
Trustee Huron, I move that we approve for staff to make ongoing purchases of computer hardware and software, telecommunications hardware, and other related infrastructure improvements over $75,000 for fiscal year 2023-2024.
Second.
Thank you. And that, of course, is as approved in the district's adopted budget by the Board of Trustees. So there's motion and second. Is there any discussion on the motion?
I just have a quick question, Chair.
Yes, sir.
So previously, this would only be regarding IT purchases.
That is correct.
So the others, everywhere else would still remain the same way. I think it was the request was anything over 50,000 had to come before the board. Is that correct?
75,000. Yes, sir.
75. Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. Is there any other discussion on the motion? Trustee Sanchez? Oh, okay. There's motion and second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 No. The motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Agenda item number 3, discussion and possible board action regarding contract award for property and casualty insurance and public officials and employment practice liability insurance for the policy year commencing on July 15th, 2023. Mr. Vino.
Good evening, John Vino, General Services Director. Early this evening, the Risk Management Committee met and approved this motion to be brought forward to the full board. The district's property and casualty insurance and public officials employment practices liability insurance policy renew on July 15th. USI Insurance Services, our broker of record, conducted a thorough review of the district's current policies and coverages and prepared a proposed insurance package and recommendation for contract award. The Board of Trustees Risk Management Committee has met with the broker of record prior to the board meeting for a presentation of the broker's proposal and to discuss staff's review and recommendations for contract award. The Risk Management Committee is bringing forward a recommendation for contract award to the Board of Trustees. Our motion is where we are requesting a motion to recommend the Board of Trustees that a contract for property and casualty insurance and public officials and employment practice liability insurance be awarded through USI Insurance to Travelers, Chubb Federal, Benchmark, Tokyo Marine Specialty, Great American, Indian Harbor, and Atlantic Pacific in the annual premium not to exceed the amount of $418,577.21 for the policy year commencing on July 15th, 2023, subject to final review by council. There was a slight increase of 8.75%. It was below market recommendations or expectations. So we're happy. I have Brandon Lewis here from USI. Should anyone have any questions on our new policy year?
Are there any questions for Mr. Vino? The one clarification I have is the motion that's written in the book says recommend. So the correct motion would be to award that contract, correct? Okay, so I'll read it the way that it's supposed to be because Jerry kind of challenged me earlier. So do I have a motion to award a contract for property and casualty insurance and public officials and employment practices liability insurance to be awarded through USI Insurance Services to Travelers, Chubb Federal, Benchmark, Tokyo Marine Specialty, Great American Indian Harbor, and Atlantic Specialty at an annual premium not to exceed $418,577.21 for the policy year commencing on July 15, 2023, subject to final review by council.
So moved.
There is a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, no. The motion carries. Thank you very much, Mr. Vino.
Thank you.
And you're here for the next one too. Agenda item 4, discussion and possible board action regarding contract award for renovations and flooring replacement for the Spring Valley Library. Mr. Vino.
So the Spring Valley Library is well overdue for a complete refresh of that branch. We've worked with LGA Architects over the last year to come up with plans for that particular building. Funds are allocated in the capital projects funds for renovations to the Spring Valley Library, including new flooring throughout, a new computer center, a new teen zone, as well as some new dedicated study rooms. An invitation to bid was advertised in the Review Journal. It was posted on the district's website. It was emailed to minority chambers of commerce, as well as listed in the NGEM system, the Nevada government e-marketplace.
The bid opening was held on May 31st. A total of 5 bids was received. The bid results are as follows. We had Whalen Construction, which was non-responsive. Savvy Construction at $447,767,000. American Southwest bid 538, 334. Monument Construction 546, and KOR Building Group 772,000. The lowest responsible and responsive bidder was Savvy Construction. We've included the disclosure of principals forms. Savvy is a minority-owned business. 3 of the 4 were actually either women-owned or minority-owned businesses that bid. We are requesting a motion to authorize staff to award a contract for renovations for flooring replacement for Spring Valley Library in accordance with bid number 2309 to Savvy Construction for the amount of $447,767 and to authorize staff to award the contract to the next lowest responsive and responsive bidder if Savvy Construction fails to comply with the contract documents and construction specifications or fails to execute a contract.
Thank you, Mr. Vino, and for the trustees who are not here in person, we do have the disclosure of ownership from Savvy Construction, and just for your benefit, it's 100% wholly owned by Ernesto Savino, and he doesn't have any relationships with folks in the district. So, are there any questions for Mr. Vino?
I have one. Have you used them before?
We haven't used Savvy, but we've worked with their subcontractors. So the biggest part of this project is the carpet replacement because it's phased. We typically don't close a branch. So that's the challenge when you do these. We will carpet through and do different areas. And we've worked with the carpet company many times. They're a good company. So we're pretty excited about that. Savvy has a good record, Public Works. They've built quite a few police stations, fire stations, the Neon Museum. So they're known within Las Vegas. They're not new. They've been here since '95, I believe.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Vino? Seeing none, I will accept a motion.
Okay, this is Trustee Turner Wiley. I move to authorize staff to award a contract for renovations and flooring replacement for Spring Valley Library in accordance with bid number 23-09 to Savvy Construction for the amount of $447,767, and to authorize staff to award the contract to the next lowest responsive and responsible bidder if Savvy Construction fails to comply with the contract documents and construction specifications or fails to execute the contract.
Thank you.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
There's a motion by Trustee Turner Whiteley, a second by Trustee Sanchez. All those in favor, is there any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, no.
Aye.
The motion carries. Agenda item number 5, discussion and possible board action regarding approval of design development for the new West Las Vegas Library. And to walk us through 300 pages is
Yeah.
Director Vino.
I'm sure you guys won't mind if I go through everything. I think I've done quite a bit in the renderings, right? So what I'd like to do today is I do have KME here, and this is really our first look at the actual physical look at what the colors are going to be, what the wood finishes are going to be. So I talk a little bit about that, and then I'd like to get into a little more of the budget and the schedule, as a matter of transparency, give you guys a little bit an idea of what we've been working on in the last couple of months and where our expectations are going forward. And so I'll start with KMA if you guys can just give us a quick breakdown of what we're looking at. And
good evening, Emmanuel Arguelles with KME Architects.
Melvin Green with KME Architects for the record.
So what we brought to you today is some presentation boards just showing some of the actual physical materials for the interiors of the building. They're representative of the main materials that are going to be spread throughout the building. Of course, there are many more materials that we're going to be including in the design. However, if we brought them all, it would be quite a bit. So we're trying to bring to you some of the look and the feel and the textures so that you can kind of see what the interior of the building will start to look like. There's one board that has a couple of images, and there's some images within the package as well too that can help identify where those materials are going to be placed. And we're at the point now where we have really kind of decided the look, the feel, and just kind of the aura of what's going to be within the library. And moving forward, we'll be fine tuning it and making improvements wherever we find possibilities for that. So.
All right. What we wanted to bring to your attention, I'm just going to get through this because you guys have seen all of this, and there was 500 pages of design development documentation, but I really
Page
wanted to,
1, chapter 1.
you know, and it's sitting right there if anybody needs something to read. I wanted to really start getting into the budget a little bit with so a big part of the design development is we go through and we get budget estimates at DD. We're at 80%. We're ready to move to construction documents and actually start permitting. We're actually in permitting for civil at this point. So we're in a good place. As you can see, or if you look, the budgets or the estimates were coming in more closer to $40 million, right? So we had to really do our homework to understand how we were going to move this project forward. And what we concentrated on was the direct cost of the building. And just as a comparison, because it's what I keep going back to, was East Vegas, our last big project. Same size building. The direct cost for that building was $20 million, just so as a matter of transparency. Core, our contractor, our CMAR, construction manager at risk on this project, is looking currently at $32 million, or at least that's where we started this process. OCMI, who stands for O'Connor, these are two of the most renowned estimators in Las Vegas, saw the building at around $29 million. On top of that, you have to manage the soft costs, which are contingencies and fees. They were a little bit off on that, but each one was coming up with a potential budget of $41 million versus $38 million for this project. So what we've been doing over the last couple of months is what's called value engineering. This is where we spend the time, we go back in and we look at where we may have over-designed. One of the things that we typically do for all our projects, even though we ask to design to a LEED silver, we try for gold. One of the issues on this project, unfortunately, was that the LEED certifications has changed since we built East Vegas. The requirements were going to cost us $3 to $4 million to get that. So we're still going for silver. We still have a chance to do post-certification and get a higher, but most municipalities at this point build to LEED certification, and we are, but they don't necessarily seek the certifications because it's extraordinarily expensive. So we started looking at that, and then we started looking at everything. You know, how can we, you always over design so that you can pull back. And we've been going through the process. We pulled back on some of our landscaping. We've asked to pull back on our storefront and where we can manage. We're already at a $4 million savings, hoping to bring that down a little more, possibly getting $5 million in savings. What is also included in that $4 million is what's called design contingencies for both design and market. Inflation is what's impacting this particular program. You know, there's just no two ways about it. Both of the core and OCMI are carrying close to $3 million to $4 million in contingencies past where we are right now. If I take those out to get the real number of what we're looking at, if we built that building right now, we're closer to our budget of $34 million and 30. I am requesting permission from the board to move forward to construction documents at $33 million and that's just for construction. And that's kind of where we are between the two. You know, when you look at it, we did run into issues when we did our geological survey. We found that that particular site has what's called expansive soil. It's clay, and when it's exposed to water, it swells. and when it dries, it shrinks. So that all has to come out, right? So there's a lot of over-X, a lot of soil that's going to have to be removed and new topsoil brought in. We have to dig down so that we avoid that underneath and that raises, I think, from 1.8 at East Vegas to somewhere in the range of almost 3 to 4 million. Our MEP, electric and HVAC is about a $2 million increase from what we've seen in the past. The enclosure glass is about $2 million. It's really about 5 different items that are driving the $10 million increase. We're still working on it, but just as, we budgeted, I thought a reasonable increase. We had the buildings pegged at $27 million. This is about a 30% above and beyond, but strictly really based on inflation and market-driven increases, not on design. I'm not trying to blame KMA. I think there's a couple of really nice highlights that I think we've shown the board, the LED screen out front and some small stuff inside, but there's nothing, there's nothing gold plated. There's nothing that we did that really is driving the price. It's part of the reason we're really having a difficult time value engineering, because there's not that easy, hey, that's $3 million. Let's just pull that out of this contract. That's not there. So we're kind of struggling with $50,000 and $100,000 savings. And then, you have to go back and look and see, is that really worth, So some of the stuff will be added back in as add alternatives when we actually go to bidding. It's possible that the bidding will come in cheaper when we really get to competitive bidding. And so we do have the opportunity to bring stuff back. But you can see that was our original budget. I just, wanted to show that, we were at 26 and I am asking for a budget of 33 and all transparency. We ran the numbers all the way out to as far as if it cost us $40 million to build this. I do believe we'll be in the 35 to 36 by the time everything is said and done for construction. My goal is really to bring it in 33 to 34, but I don't know. I can't control the bidding, and that's the wild card. We don't know what the market is going to be. We do see inflation starting to, if not come down, at least level off. We're not seeing, just the ever increasing 10% per month on some of these items. Electric and HVAC again being the main driver of this. And just in terms of budget, in our CFO's budget, he moved over $25 million for the start of construction. And again, we anticipated not knowing what the final cost would be and where we were going to wind up. The 25 million covers us even if things drastically change and we wind up at 38 or 40, which we're really going to fight. But even at 36, we have 18. Our expectation would be that our next fiscal year would be $18 million out of pocket for the first year of construction. And we can more than we've already accounted for that. The other thing that's interesting, just so you guys know, when you look at it, an $850 per square foot project, we're lucky that we really just have to worry about construction at this point. Yeah, it might be a $40 million all-in project, but most of these items are paid for already. The architectural fees will be paid for. Our programming's done. The Seymour pre-construction will be paid for before we start construction. And the balance of our FF&E and our builder's risk, we have $3.2 million sitting in the bank from the sale of West Las Vegas to cover these incidentals. So that's paid for. So at this point, we're really in a good position because budget-wise, the only thing we really need to worry about is the capital construction, the payment of the building. And again, when we went through the capital project funds, you could see the $25 million that we transferred over, and it still leaves us a balance of $19 million, almost $20 million in reserve. if we do wind up at $35 million in capital, we still have a 25% cushion. Again, I will point out that that's out of pocket. That's if we pay everything from our capital funds. But there are, as Floresto was speaking about, that doesn't include the new market tax credits. That doesn't include the grants that we're working on very hard. It doesn't include any of the naming rights we're going to be very aggressive on. That's if none of that happens, we have a cushion to move forward with this project and more than cover it. We're really in a good place. I will not thrilled with the cost. My biggest issue, to be quite honest, was comparing this building to East Vegas, the last one we built, and I'm still doing it even when I meet with CORE. It's like, if this cost us this, why is it costing this? Our due diligence at this point is to make sure we understand why, if something is $2 million more than it was 5 years ago, is it in inflation? Is it design, or are we be taken advantage of? So that's a little bit of why we are where we are, and why I'm coming to you to ask permission to continue to construction documents, and we're ready to go to permit. This is the schedule by Core Construction. We are ahead of the East Las Vegas construction. I believe we're moving things out about 4 months from our original schedule, and that is a little bit of us having to take the time to go through the numbers and make sure, when it came in high, we have to go through each and every number. But if things hold, we're still looking at a groundbreaking in October. We didn't expect permitting to be 4 months is what the city's telling us now. We were able to do an expedited for East Vegas. So that's going to cost us some time. That was unexpected. It's 8 weeks for the first round. And then typically you give your architects and engineers about a month, 4 weeks to respond to those comments. And then we go back into the city. We can certainly still have a groundbreaking. We will break ground this year. I'm very confident, and construction will start in December or January. This schedule is very conservative because we don't know how long it's going to take us to get a permit. There is something that's kind of interesting. The later we go, even if we break ground in November, December, it is the 50th anniversary of that branch within that community. So even the later we go, the closer we get to our 50th anniversary, there is the opportunity, I think, to really put something together later in the year for that groundbreaking that celebrates 50 years within the community and a new library being built in that community, right? I think that could be, that can be really something. I mean, I had hoped to open in spring of 2025. We're showing August of 2025. Again, that's just a 4-month push. This is right now not knowing what construction and permitting will take place. That's pretty normal to move that opening date back and forth as we start to understand what it is. So I just wanted to be transparent where we are with the project. It's we're pretty happy with it. We know we can build a branch we haven't built before. I mean, it's really going to be a state-of-the-art 21st century library that has everything that we need. But more importantly, I think when you walk in the branch, we need to spend the money to make it what it needs to be and to reflect the history of that branch. So with that being said, I'm happy to answer any questions on the project. We do have KME here, but I will read the motion into the record, and then we could proceed. So the motion is to approve design development for the new West Las Vegas Library and to authorize staff to have KME complete construction documents and submit for plan check review. And then, if we, the board has approved CMAR through CORE. That's only pre-construction. We will move forward with bidding and bring to the board guaranteed maximum price that CORE will bring, says that, that they will guarantee for the cost of that building for the board to approve. The board has the option to reject that, and we can always do a public bid if we don't agree with it. We can talk about that at the time, but that would also, that is an option. We haven't committed to anything past pre-construction at this point. We're really just asking to move forward. This would probably put us through September, October. I do anticipate one early GMP. There is long lead items on what's called the electrical switch gear. So we're finalizing that, and I hope to bring that for your approval in September. That would allow us to order before construction so that when we need it, it's already here. Otherwise, we would have to stop the project in midstream and wait for the equipment. So anything that has a long lead item that's affected by the supply chain, we will be ordering. Hopefully, if things go well, I will bring that to you at the September board meeting for your approval to move forward. And then hopefully a GMP in September, October, and then we'll be rolling. So.
Thank you, Mr. Vino. Just a couple questions. Number one, when you know the naming rights to the snack bar, let me know. I've always wanted a snack bar named after me.
They'll have vending machines. That's it.
There you go, the vending machines. And then
Yeah.
number two, is there a reason the amount isn't in the motion? Is that intentional or?
It's not, because you're not approving a dollar figure. I'm not asking you to approve that amount for award. This is just the actual award is to allow us to move forward to construction documents. It's more procedural approval. So that's why.
Sounds good. Thank you very much. Are there any other questions for Director Vino? Okay. Is there a motion then?
Trustee Huron, a motion to approve design development for the new West Las Vegas Library and to authorize staff to have KME complete construction documents and submit for plan check review.
There's a motion and a second from Vice Chair Rogers. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, no. The motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for all three.
Awesome. Moving on to announcements. There is no August board meeting, so enjoy your summer, what's left of it. The Finance and Audit Committee meeting chaired by Vice Chair Rogers will meet on Thursday, September 7th, 2023 at 3:30 p.m. via Zoom. The September board meeting will be held on Thursday, September 14th, 2023 at 5 p.m. at Windmill Library. And a reminder for trustees who would like to redo their pictures, we will be doing it then. And finally, the October board meeting will be held on Thursday, October 12th at 5 p.m. at the Sahara West Library. Moving on to public comment. Trustee Melendez. Yep.
Yeah, just a real quick comment. Again, I just wanted to thank everybody because I know Director will be meeting in August. So I'm going to be looking at the application. I'm going to be giving it some thought. Kevin and I have been talking, and there's a lot of things that are happening in my world right now that I'm going to give it some serious thought over the weekend. But since there is not a meeting in August, and in case this was my last meeting, I just wanted to thank my fellow trustees and the Calvin and the staff, Ebony, everybody who has made it a real honor to continue serving as a trustee. It's one of the best things that I've ever done in all my years of public service. And so just wanted to say a thank you just in case things don't work out and that I'm not able to return in September. So Kelvin, Ebony, staff, all the directors of the library, thank you for all your work. And to my fellow trustees, thank you for allowing me to serve with each of you and all these years. And it's been one of my greatest pleasure in terms of all the different public service opportunities that I've had in my professional career.
Thank you, Trustee Melendez, and we are definitely grateful for your service. If this is your last meeting, we'll still want you back in September so we can give you the full honors and send off that we like to give to departing trustees. And if you are reappointed, then we'll see you back in September anyway. So,
yes, sir.
Is there any other comments anyone would like to make at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on to public comment. Topics raised on this item cannot be acted upon until notice provisions of an open meeting law have been met. Ebony, is there anyone here for public comment?
No, not at this time.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the room who would like to give public comment who hasn't signed up? Seeing none, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second, Jose.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Have a wonderful July and September. August, everybody.